Okay, then I will start, since it's 2 o'clock. Let me see. Yeah, don't touch that. Welcome to the session on platform events. My name is Martijn Schwarzer. I work as a technical architect for a Dutch consulting company called NextView. And today we're going to focus on how admins and developers work together to implement business logic. But before we can do that, I have one question. Who is already familiar with platform events? One person? Have you actually used it already? No? Cool. So, hopefully you'll learn something today and you can apply this knowledge in your future projects. So, welcome. Have a seat. What are we going to learn today? I'm going to talk briefly about what platform events are and some use cases for it. I'm not a big fan of slides, so I will use the demo to demonstrate how it actually works. So I have a few scenarios prepared for you. But let's start with what are platform events. A platform event is based on a so-called publisher-subscriber mechanism, which sounds really complicated, but in fact it is really simple. Think of it as a radio station. A radio station broadcasts news, music, and if you're tuned into the right station, you can receive that information or that music. And the same works with platform events. You can publish an event on the event bus from Salesforce, and if you have subscribed to that event, then you will get all the detailed information that is incorporated in that event, and you can act upon it. So this allows multiple subscribers to do different things based on the same data. If I was to yell, "There's a fire right now," probably everybody would react differently. One would freeze, the other one would run to the exit, the third one would call 112 or 911 in the US. So everybody reacts differently. And that's the power of this platform event mechanism. So what are the options for publishing and subscribing? You can do both within the Salesforce platform and both externally from outside of the Salesforce platform. So within the Salesforce platform, I see this is kind of an old slide, but you can publish platform events. They are basically as objects, only of a different kind. So all the ways that you can use to create an as object, the same ways you can create a platform event. So you can do that via Process Builder, you can do that via code, you can do that via flow. Any means that you can use to create an object, you can use the same means to create a platform event. And within the Salesforce platform, there are several ways to subscribe to it. In this picture, it only says Apex Trigger, but there's also an EMP, I forgot the right name, but there is a component you can use within Lightning components, Aura components or web components, so you can subscribe to a platform event. Or nowadays, recently added in a new release, also you can subscribe to a platform event from Flow. Externally from Salesforce, the only way to create an object or a platform event in the platform is via the APIs. So you can use SOAP REST or Bulk API to do so. And if you want to subscribe to a platform event externally, there is the Java D client, which you can implement to receive those platform events. So where can you use it for? Well, basically anything. My preferred use cases are integration related. So think about whenever you create a new account in Salesforce, you also want to have that account available in your finance system. Finance system can subscribe to the platform event. From within Salesforce, when an account is created, you can put all the relevant information in that platform event. Your finance system will receive that and they can act upon it. It has a few advantages. There's no point-to-point integration, so the systems aren't coupled directly. And you can replay all the events within a time limit of 24 hours. So if your external system is down or your middleware layer is down for maintenance, you don't miss any information as long as you have it up and running within the 24 hours. You can replay platform events. They all have a publisher ID. So all you need to do is replay from the last publisher ID that you have received, and you will get all the events in. So basically it is kind of a guaranteed delivery mechanism built in that event bus. Let's take that same example. If you would have done a point-to-point integration with your financial system, and then your company acquires another company, and you get a second financial system, you have to build a second integration. If you use platform events, all you need to do is in the second financial system, implement the D client, and basically you're up and running. You don't need to do anything on the Salesforce side. But you can also use it within Salesforce itself. IoT Cloud is fully based on platform events. And I personally use it to create some asynchronous processing. Because every time you subscribe to an event or an event comes in, it's a new transaction in Salesforce. So if you have big transactions and you run into governor limits, you can think about your architecture and split those up in multiple blocks, which you can kick off via platform events. But how does it actually work? Because me telling that it works is nice, but I think it's better to see it. So I'm gonna switch over to the org that I have prepared. Since we are at an event, I thought I'd create a small event management app. So here we see the different events. We're currently...
You don't see the right screen.
Oh, hey, strange. Thanks for that. How do we do that? This is better, I think. Whoa. This is better. So we have several events. Currently we're at Franchise Dreaming. And at an event you have sessions. So related to the event we have several sessions. And currently we are in the platform events session. I just gave it a session number. That's for later use. I want to register attendees because people coming to my session, I want to know who they are, and we're going to create a lead out of them. So I'm going to start with myself, add myself as an attendee. And what happens is if I go into, let's start with the event itself. Sorry. First things first, you go to platform events. If it's hard to see, I think maybe on that side it's better, then I'm not in the way. So I have an event attendee created. So whenever an attendee record is created, I'm going to fire this event. And the idea is that within the subscription of that event, I'm going to create a lead record. As you can see, this is basically a standard object with only one difference. It is instead of a custom object, of course, instead of a _C, you'll see _E for event. That way you know it's an event. And I've created 3 fields for that event that I want to pass on the information. I want to know the company, the first name and the last name. And this is just your definition. How to publish this as an admin. So, as an admin, I love my process builder. So, on the attendee object, I created a really simple process builder because we have the attendee object. I have no criteria. We're just going to execute the actions. And basically, we just have a standard create a record action. I gave it a name and a record type. Attendee created. This is the _E event that we just defined. And I'm going to fill the fields with the values from the attendee record. So this is just publishing the event. And it's that simple. You just create a record and it's published. But publishing a record doesn't do anything yet. So we'll also have to subscribe to that event. And for that I created a second process builder, which is I'm going to go back one step, because when you create a new process, you can choose that it starts when a platform event message is received. So this way you subscribe to a certain event. That's what I did here. Here we go. And the first thing you need to do is match your event to any object. Since I want to save a lead and or I need to work with an object, I'm sorry. So my attendee object, that's where I'm going to link the event back to. These are the fields, and the event reference is used. So I'm taking the values from the event and put it in a placeholder for the attendee object. And the next thing is I'm going to create a new lead, standard record, or standard action. But I'm going to take my values from this attendee object that I just put my values in. So we'll have company, last name, first name, and the status will be open, not contacted. Now let's see how that works. So once I create my new attendee, I'm here myself, so that's always a good thing. And I work for next view. Once I hit save, the first process builder will fire up that event. The second one will pick it up and process the information. And if everything went well, I should have a new lead in here. And of course, this is a demo, so recently viewed. I haven't seen it yet. The all leads, hey. Is my process builder not active? They are active. So what's, I think I know what happened. There's a new thing in the new release. And that is that by default, no profiles have access to your platform event. So sorry about that. So if I edit my profile, yeah, with any demo something goes wrong. It's not a good demo if nothing goes wrong. Then it's a sales pitch. Let me see, where is it? Cancel. It's in here. I know it's in there. Platform. It's not in there. Yeah, there they are. I do have permissions. So what happened?
Maybe the email is not reviewed.
Let me see. Let's go back to the event. Is that one? Hey, that's strange. Event. Sorry for this. It's deployed. Attendee created. It's running. Publish immediately. Let's see, was my attendee created? Or did something go wrong there? Franchise streaming related. Platform events related. I do have it. Then what's wrong with my leads? Oh, this has never happened before. I need all leads. There's no strange filters in here. Whoa. Sorry. Yeah. This sucks. Well, I'm not going to debug anything. Anyway, let's continue the demo. We only have a few minutes left. So the other use case that I have is, of course, from the technical side. So how do you create? You can, of course, create via code any object, and therefore also the event. I had a second process builder because if sessions are really well attended, it's hard for me to start typing everything. So I have an external company that will stand by the door and basically take the names and companies of all the attendees and they will fire that into our org via the API. So if we log into Workbench, via the API, I can it's inserting data. So we choose the object type, attendee created external, which gives us the fields. So if we say Acme, first name Bugs Bunny for session 40, confirm insert. And then we go back to our events, because this is the external event. And there's one extra parameter, the session number. But here we have a trigger. So this is how we subscribe within Salesforce to platform events. It's just a simple trigger. And basically, I'm not going to go over the code, but basically what we do is I create an attendee for each platform event that comes in. I link it to the session, and then I insert that record into the database. So the first thing that we should see for this event is the Bugs Bunny attendee. That one's there. So yay for me. Which should have fired up the attendee created event, which should create the lead. So I'm guessing that's broke as well. I don't know what happened. Yeah, this kind of sucks because the demo doesn't work. But that is the idea. And by having the option to do it both declaratively and programmatically, if your admin has defined an event, your developer can fire that off within any process that he or she is working on, if needed. Same goes the other way around. If your developer is firing up events and you need to do some declarative tasks on it, you can just subscribe to it via the process builder, which means that your developers and your admins need to work close together, because these things go really fast. And you need to have the information from both sides to know why it is fired and what is happening with it. Because otherwise it can get really complex really fast. And that's also why I always urge any project where I'm working, any customer, put your devs and admins together in one room. Because on each user story that they work on, they need to collaborate. And platform events gives them the option to make that collaboration easy, since both developers and admins can create them and subscribe to them. So you can find the optimal solution that way. And then I have a few minutes left for Q&A. I can also create an event via code in Salesforce. I still have this one open. So let's see if we can get Luke Skywalker in there as well. So this is when your developer would do that. Because it's in some process that is really complicated. So if we go back to my session for franchise dreaming, and then I don't know what's going wrong. The org doesn't want me today because I inserted it. But where's my attendee? And of course, when I tested this yesterday, it works like a charm. Sorry about that. Any questions? After this session, nobody dares to use platform events anymore. Sorry. No question? Yeah?
What are the governor limits on events?
They are the same, or at least in the processing, as any Salesforce transaction. But the limits, they tend to change each release. So let me just platform events limits. Here we go. I don't know them by heart. So based on the edition that you have, there's a maximum number of event definitions that you can have. Is this readable for everyone? The concurrent D clients, 2000, and you can have 4,000 processes, up to 4,000 processes that can subscribe, and 2,000 that can also subscribe. But the allocations, this is basically what you need to keep in mind, because the maximum number of event notifications you can publish per hour is 100,000. It's a lot, but if you need to publish 1 million, then maybe you need to think about different ways. Plus, the subscription is really different, because what you can do is subscribe within a 24-hour period from decline. So externally, you can only subscribe to 50,000 events being published. So that's something you really need to keep in mind. If you can publish 100,000 per hour from your org, but you can only subscribe to 50,000 within 24 hours, that can cause issues. But if you need the actual limits, I always urge you to look online, because they tend to change, and online will be the most up-to-date information. And as always, if you need higher limits, contact your account executive.
You mentioned the time limit earlier. How much time does one event last?
24 hours.
24 hours.
Yeah. And that's a rolling window. So if you publish it today at 2 p.m., then tomorrow at 2 p.m. and 1 minute later, it will be gone. Any other questions? Yeah?
Can you share with us one great use case you use this platform event for?
Integrations. Absolutely integrations. I'm not sure if you were there from the start of the session, but I talked a small part about use cases. And the example that I gave is, for example, if you create a new account in Salesforce and you want that information also in your financial system or your logistics system, that would be an easy way to get that information over there, because you don't need that point-to-point integration. Plus, since the messages or the events will be available for 24 hours, if your middleware layer or even your logistics system or your finance system goes down for maintenance, if it's up and running within 24 hours, you can replay all the events, and therefore you have, within 24 hours, you have a guaranteed delivery. But another thing is to break up really complex or big transactions into smaller parts. Because each time when you publish an event and your subscription kicks in, that's a new transaction. So it'll give you a new set of limits. And I've used it for those purposes as well. Does that answer your question? Any other questions? No? Sorry, the demo didn't work. It really sucked. Never happened to me before, but we have to have a first time for everything. So then I need to say away with the official thank you slide. Thanks for bearing with me.